Telegram app is a great way of onboarding new users. It's very convenient that people don't need to install anything. It reduces a lot of barriers. And yeah, of course, being able to share your trades in Telegram helps spread virally. So yeah, definitely like Telegram app is a way to go.
All right, welcome back to the Epic Web3 podcast. I'm Alex, your host and CEO and co-founder of Epic Web3. Today we're diving into our second episode on the Ton and Telegram ecosystem. With me today is my co-host Alena, ecosystem lead at Ton Foundation, and our guest today is Denis, co-founder of Strom Trade, leading Perp DEX on the Ton blockchain, 25 million in TVL, 60,000 active traders. Recently launched Strom token. So I think it's going to be a great conversation about DeFi and Ton, the future of the ecosystem, and much more. So hi guys, how's it going?
Yeah, hello guys.
Hey Alex, yeah,
Yeah,
everything's well.
it's pretty good.
Great.
Thanks for joining us. So for those who doesn't know, what is the main difference between Strom Trade and other DEXs on Ton, like maybe DDoS, StonFi, and other players?
Yeah, the most important difference is that Strom Trade is actually a derivatives DEX, which means that you are trading not the spot assets, but you are trading a perpetual futures on those assets, which means that first of all, you can go long and short, so you can bet on asset price either going up or down. Second, you can employ leverage, which means that you can increase your capital efficiency quite a bit.
Perfect. So since we're here with Alena from Ton, let's talk about Ton blockchain. So for those builders who are building a DeFi protocol or DEX in Ton, what are the main difficulties? Like, what should you take into consideration when launching a DeFi project on Ton?
Well,
Yeah, definitely
is it a question for Alena or for me?
It's
No, definitely for Dennis. I
for
just
you.
wanted to give, yeah, like a short background probably, and like kudos to Dennis, who was actually one of the first DeFi founders on Ton, right? Having won the hackathon back then, and then having launched this very first Perp DEX on Ton blockchain. So this is definitely the right person to answer this question.
Okay, so in my opinion, I would say there are two main difficulties like building on Tom blockchain. First of all, is the asynchronous model of the blockchain itself, which means that you need to basically like reinvent every pattern that you probably learned while developing smart contracts for EVM, like in Solidity. So that's the first thing. And second, which I think affects like low latency protocols, like Perp DEXs especially, is the high latency of Tom blockchain. So currently the transaction can take anywhere else from like 20 seconds for a minute, which might be okay if you're just swapping token A for token B. But if we are talking about the high leverage trading like X50, X100 leverage, then those delays can be quite significant. We were forced basically to develop like a kind of like innovative like borderline level 2 solution to speed up transaction execution specifically for Strom Trade.
Dennis, and do you plan to stick to the current model, or do you have something probably new and even more innovative on your roadmap to solve the high latency issue?
Yes. So again, as I already mentioned, we already developed our sequencer solution. So for our end users, our currently latency is sub-second. But again, since leverage trading is very dynamic, we are currently doing like we're building on top of this, not only reducing latency for our users, but also implementing features like gas-based trading. You don't need to pay for gas. You don't need to pay a blockchain fee when placing like a limit order, like canceling a limit order. So we aim at building like as seamless experience as possible. So like taking a great thing from post-work like user experience of a centralized blockchain and like freedom of using a true DEX.
Do you think you plan to launch some kind of a layer 2 for Ton in the future, as it was in Ethereum? You know, like every app builder ended up launching their own roll up or layer 2. Do you think we can see something like this in Ton?
I'm not exactly a fan of this approach with like per app layer 2, because layer 2 means that the liquidity is getting fragmented and user experience suffer. I think one of the reasons why Ton has such a great value proposition is its ability to scale indefinitely, which means that we do not need to bridge our assets from like one blockchain to another to reconnect to different chains to use different apps. So I think this balance, like still settling everything on a layer 2 without the need of like transferring assets to some other chains, and also using an off-chain like sequencing and matching solution can provide users with both nice user experience, great execution speed, while avoiding like liquidity fragmentation and unnecessary transfers from one chain to another.
What else is missing in terms of infrastructure? Again, speaking about building DeFi project on Ton. So maybe looking forward, like in 1-2 years ahead, what do you expect as a builder? What do you expect from the blockchain?
Yeah, I think some kind of mature tooling for developing is something that we would really love to have, because currently we have like a lot of tooling and we see like a significant evolution in this department. So just recently, like a new language for Tom blockchain was announced, Talk, which actually solves a lot of problems. I mean, it's aiming at solving those problems, right? But it's still like in heavy development still. So what is really missing is that very mature, very straightforward stack where you can develop, test, fuzzy test, debug, use smart contracts, and also use like an off-chain indexing APIs to fetch data from blockchain. Again, we do have an indexing APIs, but the maturity level of these tools like is still pretty low. There's still like a lot of innovation, a lot of development happening. And again, it is great because it actually shows that the tooling is getting better and better like every day for the ton, but also like coming from the Ethereum perspective, where the tools are very mature and we haven't seen it. At least a third generation of like tooling coming out right now on Ethereum. Yeah, really like the developer experience can be improved, and I think it is getting.
I also have a question like, okay, you are the first Perp DEX, like, I mean, the largest one so far, but how do you evaluate, how do you assess the other solutions that are kind of emerging on Ton chain already, like Trudor and others as well? Like, how do you evaluate them from the technical standpoint? Do you view them as like serious competitors? Just your general opinion on the landscape of Perp DEXs on Ton.
Yeah, so first of all, I think there are currently only one like working Perp DEX like right now, which is Tradur. And I think what Tradur guys actually built is great because like being the being this second protocol like being built is actually a huge advantage, because you can look at what the first guys built, you can look like what they have to rebuild, what they have to reiterate, and you can learn from their mistakes. And I think what Tradu made really, really, really great is that they learned on all of our mistakes, and the guys did this very well. So like their architecture, like the way they handle transactions, like the way they already built a lot of like products, like options. Yeah, really good. Appreciate the work that the guys are doing. I think they're really, really, really doing a great job. Yeah, and yeah, basically all the good luck to them. And yeah, I actually think that like if there is a competition, it's actually good, because it means that there is a market worth competing for. And when there is no competition, it means that the market is so uninteresting that basically no one wants to invest in this arena and build. So there's no money to earn. So yeah, really excited to see a lot of great players coming to Ton and to Perps space in particular. So yeah, we are really expecting like the whole sector to boom pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll send you more pitch decks of projects that are planning to build a perp decks on Tom. Okay, look, but can you expand a bit more on, like, could you name three main mistakes on which you think they learned based on your experience?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, it's probably the execution. Like the execution layer is they basically like did this off-chain execution like really, really, really soon. Like while we first like try to build like everything like 100% like on chain. So that would be number one. Second is that they very effectively employed the marketing of like the mini app. So this like social aspect, like gamification thing, and so on and so forth. And yeah, again, we were live even before the Notcoin came out. So naturally, we just did like this old school way, like, okay, like, here is an application. Yes, it's like in TMA, but yeah, here is your standard like farming mechanics, like Arbitrum like aimed at like true degens, like you either trade, you provide liquidity, you earn points. So this is like very like uh, I would say like old school Web3 way of doing this. While Web3 is not old school at all, but still like it's evolving so fast that now like points mechanics based on like on-chain activity, like it's it's almost old school, right? And they did this like social thing, like this gamification thing where you like feed the bull, like and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's really, really, really great thing that they did and that I think like almost everyone building in Telegram should do right now is do everything that brings you more users through the viral and social mechanics. So yeah, that's amazing thing as well.
So are you going to launch something of this type, learning on their experience?
Yeah, so what we actually doing right now is we built our academy, which is a very interesting thing. I think it's like a new generation of social experience. It's basically a learn to earn where instead of like doing some pointless things like just like playing some game for points, you actually learn how to use DeFi on Tone, you learn how to use Tone, you learn how to onboard, you learn how to trade, you earn points for this. And the whole mechanics is like they're very gamified, they're very friendly for people who want like this extra dopamine, like kind of like TikTok kind of thing. So even like the learning courses themselves, while they like pretty serious actually in content, but they still look like you are just scrolling through the Telegram stories, like answering some quizzes. It's very interactive and rewarding. So yeah, we're definitely doing some steps in this direction as well.
No, look, the academy is pretty amazing. Yeah, when I was checking it, I was like, yes, this is something that I think every single DeFi app on Ton and beyond should do at a certain point. Like the earlier the better, anyway.
Do you see that launching a Telegram app helps you to onboard new users?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Telegram app is great way of onboarding new users. It's very convenient that people don't need to install anything. It reduces a lot of barriers. And yeah, of course, being able to like, share your trades in Telegram helps spread virally. So yeah, definitely like Telegram app is a way to go. Definitely helps.
Can you share what is the portion of users coming from Telegram or from web right now?
Yeah, so actually the fun fact is we have around like probably 40 to 50% of users from the Telegram, from the mini app. Then we have a large portion of users that are actually trading through wallet, mostly through the Tonekeeper, because for them it's more convenient. Because when you trade from Tonekeeper, so which means that you use an embedded browser in Tonekeeper, it's just faster for you because you can immediately like sign your transaction in Tonekeeper, which is again very important when you're doing high leverage. And we have around like 15% of users still using desktop application.
Once again, what's the proportion of users that are using Funkeeper?
Yeah, around 50% is like the application, around 25 to 30% is Tonekeeper, like 15% desktop is the rest like either like the mobile app, like these are other ways basically of using an application.
Wow, interesting. I didn't know about Funkeeper. That's really a revelation for me now.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the liquidity, the proportion will be even better for Tonekeeper, I think, because I've heard that like heavy DeFi users on Ton use Tonekeeper as a like a go-to
Yeah, yeah, it's
place.
true. It's true. It's true. Yeah. So people who take like trading seriously and who actually like have great volumes, they tend to use Stonekeeper.
Nice, nice. And have you experimented with attracting users from retail apps like games or some simple things like tap to earn games or others,
Yes. Yes,
converting
obviously.
them
Obviously.
to DeFi?
Yeah,
So
obviously we
how
have
do you see
experimented with this.
the
Yeah.
results? Yeah.
It's an interesting question because if you do this like the direct way, so you basically have like, for example, like, you buy Task in like one of the like, the top games. Lots of people will come, you will have very poor conversions because the audience is I mean, most of the audience is here to earn, right? Not to spend. So they will do anything. They will do even like small donations, and like a lot of people doing small donations is a lot of money actually. So you can actually make money from this. But they're here for the drop. They're not here to learn. They're not here to trade. They're here for the drop. So if you do this like in this way, the results are like quite bad. But what we actually learn is that there are some users there, like actual users that are genuinely interested in Web3, I want to trade, I want to use like DeFi tooling, and we got quite a few of like actual like long-term users and community members from these integrations. So what we do right now is we work with a few large top games and with a few large advertising networks on Telegram to implement new targeting mechanics that would allow us to target users, for example, that already have like some money on their wallet, which means that they are at least already onboarded to Web3, right? So if they have like Tether on their wallet, which means that they can immediately become like a Strom Trade users.
How
And
do you
with
know
this targeting,
that? What is the data source?
yeah, obviously. So if you are an advertising network, then you know the wallet of your user and you know exactly how much funds do user have. So you can create a new targeting rules that would allow us as advertisers to only target users who we know we can convert to the actual users of the application. And that's
Can
something
you
that we
name,
are working on right now.
yeah, sorry for interrupting. Can you name some ad networks you've been testing already?
Yeah, we are currently working with Adsgram and OnClicker.
Okay. By the way, I was
Uh,
also going to ask, like, we
okay,
already
we
covered.
wanted also to talk about.
Okay, I think there's some
No,
connection
continue.
issues.
Yeah.
No, just a very brief one. Like we already covered kind of internal competitors, right? The project that are building in the Ton ecosystem. And I was also wondering like whether you are following tightly any products on Ethereum or other ecosystems, whether you have any paragons, any super cool products that you would use as an example and you would probably want to achieve the level at some point.
Yeah, obviously. So at least two projects that we are very closely following. One is the Drift on Solana, which is, I think, like architecturally is probably the best like level one native like Perp DEX, and Hyperliquid, which again I think like is probably the best like chain agnostic Perp DEX like there, which become even more evident like after the very successful.
By the way, talking about listing, me and Alex were just chatting before the podcast, and we were like, "This is definitely a question we want to ask you, Dennis. Tell us more about the DG, what changed, how it was, like your lessons learned, just anything that you want to share on the DG."
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So first of all, TG is a lot of work. So you need to like communicate with those like launch pads, exchanges, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I mean, we launched first of all in pretty good market, so the market is important as well. But in general, yeah, we had quite successful launch, I would say. So I really get a lot of questions I ask like how to launch the token, how do we can like how we can make our like token launch successful. So for us, the recipe for success was first of all like gradual launch. Second of all is the pre-market. So we really started this like pre-market trading way before token went live, and that allowed us to avoid like people who got tokens in an airdrop event, basically dumping on the market. They dump everything on the pre-market, and those guys who wanted to invest, they bought this pre-market. So in a way that made the price discovery before listing possible. So basically listed pretty much like the expected price. And that avoided a lot of like confusion in community, a lot of drama, I would say. So everything was like very fair and smooth. And I think this is one recipe for successful launch of like utility token. Obviously, if we are to be like very hyped up game, we'd love to have as much volatility on the launch as possible. Right? But since we are utility token and the whole project is being built with like quite a long-term vision. We want to basically make launch as predictable as possible, and I think we succeed in this.
Yeah, I think you succeeded in this for sure. So, a couple of questions here. So, how did you do that? So, how to? I think I just looked at the charts before the pod and saw that the volatility was really low and the price grown. So, what are the like main go-to lessons here? How to do this? If you want
Yeah,
to
so
say
first
big
of all,
short.
yeah, it's a pre-market. So we allow to people to like trade their allocations before the TGE. And second, I think is that the token itself have utility. So there's like this gradual like buybacks based on the protocol revenue. So everything is tied together. So the token success is pretty much tied into the core protocol metrics, which is again something that creates like a very like simple feedback loops. When your protocol grow, your revenue grows, you buy back more tokens from the market, which might positively affect the price. Yeah, that basically aligns interests of all the parties, like including the investors in the token, actual users of the Strom Trade, and the team. So we all want like the same thing, basically, like to generate as much trading volume as possible, because that would benefit all the parties.
Do you actually need a token here? So the question I ask for every guest, every speaker of the event, like, was it possible to do the same thing without a token, just redistributing the revenue in stable coins?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, the answer is always yes. It's like, it's like when you are building a company, like a normal company and like a Web2, do you need to go like public? Do you need to do like an IPO? Obviously, no, right? Like you can build the same thing like without issuing like shares and like going public. Does it help specifically in Web3 doing a token? Yes, it simplifies like investing process. It allows community to become more involved in the product they use. And again, we all know this like famous principle of Warren Buffett, like you should invest in a company that you're actually using. So for your users, you create a very convenient way for them to invest in what you're building. It, obviously, again, for the protocol, it always increases you like uh, engagement, retention, because people are actively involved with what you are building, more active as if they were like just users. So that's one of the advantage that Web3 do have here. But in general, I think like again, if you have a sustainable business, you can do absolutely everything without a token.
How many token holders do you currently have?
Or let me actually check this out. We have 25,000 token holders right now.
Okay.
But do you feel that something has changed? Because I mean, it's obviously like those are two absolutely different periods in your startup development, right? Like before TG, people are expecting like huge rewards, and they are indeed motivated by that. And then, but after TG, you probably need to adopt like another approach, another strategy. So could you share a bit of like insights on that?
Yeah, obviously, like after the TGE. So first of all, I would say there are pros and cons, right? So pro side, after the TGE, you have more options. So for example, you have more options for marketing, right? Because instead of spending like USDT, which are always scarce for a startup, you can like spend tokens on marketing. So you have more options. Obviously, you have like more revenue sources with the token, right? And on the con side, yeah, it's easier to grow on the expectations, right? Because if people are expecting like a drop, expecting something, you can leverage this, and obviously we leverage this. We run like the point program and so on and so forth. And when the TG happens and people like they get their drop, this cohort of people who are here for the drop obviously would stop using your product, and they will go somewhere else to farm a new drop, which is totally fine with me. So after the TG, what you do is you focus more on building like actual product in a sense that you need to find ways to deliver more value to your users. And yeah, basically you just build good projects. And with this, when you're building good product, if your token performance is tied to your product performance, if you build a good product that attracts users, you get basically like double the value, right? You get more value in terms of token value appreciation, and you get like a natural like revenue that your users is generating to you. So again, in a sense, it's more difficult because there is no like unreasonable expectations, I would say, or reasonable expectations. On the other hand, you have like additional like revenue source from the tokens like appreciating in value.
But do you think that, like, what about the size of the community, like, or rather the number of active users? Like, has it reduced? Has it grown since pre-teaching?
Yes. It is definitely not reduced. There's always like this kind of churn like happening in the community. Again, obviously, some people are left who are here for the job, but
Yeah.
new people came in, especially people who heard about the project from the token generation event because it's a huge marketing event. You get a lot of inflow of new users out there, a lot of new community members who become your investors, who become your users actually, who become your liquidity providers. Yeah, I would say that steadily our community is growing. So we're actually seeing around like 50 new active traders every day, like from 30 to 80 like new active traders every day. So yeah, that's pretty good.
All right, I think it's time to wrap up. So maybe last question: what is your current challenge, and what are your nearest plans? Like I don't know for next quarter, next year. What do you plan to do?
Yeah, so our like main goal, and we're like very much like this goal-oriented like type of company out there. The main goal for the first quarter of the next year is to break through like 30 millions a day daily trading volume by doing. And how we're going to do this, like aside from like obvious like marketing activities like academy and so on and so forth, we're introducing more pairs. We're introducing RVAs, so you'll be able to trade forex, to trade commodities without leaving Telegram, without leaving Strom Trade, which is a pretty innovative product and which is very appealing for like Web 2.5 audience of Tom and Telegram. Increasing the leverage, currently we support up to 50 leverage. For this, we would support around like 150 leverage for major crypto pairs. And yeah, product-wise, we are very much invested in this social fi direction, like copy trading, like partner tournaments, and so on and so forth. And that's something that we're releasing really soon. So it's being actively built right now after a lot of research. So yeah, I think again, like to reiterate, goal is 30 millions a day daily trading volume, and is better per product, more pairs, more trading instruments, more leverage, and product side are social features like copy trading to engage with more audience.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. Good luck with that. I just deposited some stables into the liquidity pool of Strom Trade before the podcast, so that I have more skin in the game, more involved in this pod. So yeah, thank you very much for coming, for sharing your journey and some lessons. Thanks for
Yeah, thank you very much
hosting Alena.
for
Well,
inviting me.
Storm Trade. Well, Storm Trade. It's really a very, very strong, very prominent app on Torrent. So, I mean, kudos to Dennis who's built it. So, yeah, look forward to the updates and to further growth, guys.
See you in 2025.
Yeah, see you. Thank you very much.